back to the Yee podcast. This is our second ever episode, and we are so pumped to be here.
Wow, I feel like a veteran.
2 episodes in, and I think we're feeling a little confident in what we're doing now.
This ain't my first rodeo.
I'm Hayden, and that's Parker. I am the director of marketing at Yee Apparel, and Parker is the CEO. And we recently started this podcast to try and connect with Yee Nation a little bit better. And kind of show you guys the behind the scenes of the inner workings here, give you some previews of some things happening, and just really connect with the community a little bit more than what we've been doing previously.
Yeah, so we're going to do this weekly is the plan for now. And if it keeps growing, then we'll continue to do it weekly. Just share it with your friends. Tell somebody about it. If it's entertaining, let us know. Give it a like on YouTube. It'll be available wherever you can hear podcasts. And we'll keep doing it.
Yeah, not only the podcast, a big focus in 2021 for us has been content, and we do a lot of content already. We scrape the web, we scrape TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all these different things for funny viral videos, and that's what a lot of you guys maybe found us by Yee Apparel as a brand. But one of the things that we're focusing on in 2021 is doing a lot more of the content that you've seen maybe Granger do, whether it's the Smiths or whether it's Yee Life or the truck rebuild with Butch and Bull. We're trying to do some content about the farm, and that's going to be a huge focus for us. So with that being said, we are trying to grow the YouTube. So if you're listening on YouTube right now, please make sure you like and subscribe. If you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, please make sure that you follow, save the episode, do whatever you can. All those things matter. And the more that we can grow the channel and the channels, the more episodes and the more content that we're going to be able to provide. So we'll just jump right into it. We're going to do a few different things this episode, and it's going to be constantly evolving. We don't have guests yet this episode, but we're working on it. It's going to be different every episode, I think, is what Parker and I had kind of talked about. We want to do things a little bit differently, and I don't want this to be a traditional podcast where it's the exact same every week. I think that gets a little boring.
Yeah, it's going to change and evolve every week as we bring on different people and do different segments and listen to what you guys want to hear. We'll bring Granger on. We'll bring on, some of the different influencers that we've worked with and try to bring value. So let us know what you want to hear. We're going to start off with a few things that people were wanting to hear today, right?
Yeah, we've, I guess, status of the warehouse right now is a hot topic from everything that I'm seeing, and a lot of people are wondering how many orders we had from the winter launch, which was depending on whenever you're listening to this, it was January 15th, 2021, a couple weeks ago. So I guess you can kind of just give an update on where we're at with those and how that's all looking and where we're going from here.
Yeah, we had one of our best days ever in terms of order volume. Unfortunately, we were not as prepared as I would have liked to be, and I feel like I'm just sound like a broken record at this point, apologizing to people for their orders taking so long, but I am genuinely sorry if your order's taking a while. We made a lot of progress. Yesterday, we had a lot of people come in, but it's just very difficult. It's very difficult to get lots of part-time people to just come in and work full-time for 2 weeks after these launches, and so anyway, long story short, we're getting there with the winter launch orders. I think are we almost done with the 15th as of right now? Today's the 26th, and I think we're almost done with the orders from the 15th, if that gives anybody an idea. We have a day shift, an evening shift, and a night shift. We hired 3 more people last week. We're hiring 2 more people this week, so I promise it's the vein of my existence.
Well, also, what's important to note and point out is that we noted that it could be 10 business days, up to 10 business days from the time that you order to the time it's shipped. And unfortunately, we can't control what USPS does. Sometimes they like to take their time. They're also really bogged down right now with everything going on in the world, and there's a lot of shipping happening right now. But a lot of those orders are still within 10 business days, but we also understand that we want to get to the level where one day we've got the same speed as Amazon. I want you to order and I want your package to be there. Maybe not the next day like Amazon does, or sometimes the day of, but pretty dang close. And so we're always trying to hold ourselves to that standard, and Amazon kind of set that. as the gold standard, and for better or worse, probably for better if anything, retailers kind of have to keep up with that as much as we can. So we're trying our hardest, and we just want to kind of keep y'all updated with that.
The cool thing about this podcast is whenever you're listening, we'll be able to tell you where we are in terms of order volume. And so, in a week or two, we may be like, if you order today, then your order will probably go out today. And we'll be able to like keep the listeners involved in terms of like if you wanted to wait to order whenever it's a little bit less busy. But
yeah, well, it's funny because sometimes it just depends on when you order. Like if you order, there's times where it's a little bit slower and it's not right around a launch. And if you order, your package will literally be sent out that afternoon. I know someone that lives in San Antonio, which is not far from us, where we're at in the farm in Georgetown. And I think they ordered one morning. This is a few months ago. They ordered in the morning, and then the next morning their package was there. So it was there in less than 24 hours. So that's not doable typically, but we're trying to get there. So bear with us, and that is cool that we're able to update people real time. Yeah, I mean, current happenings at the farm, I guess since we last talked, there's not really a lot different going on. Parker's been working really hard on a lot of new products. Like a lot of these, it's awesome whenever we get so excited whenever a small package comes in, because whenever a small package comes in, whenever a big package comes in, or like pallets, that means it's new product, which we've usually already seen a look at. But me not being in the product development as much, every time a small package comes in, I get so excited because I know it's a sample. And I know that it's going to be the first time we're getting a look at something. And we've had some awesome samples come in this week of new products that we're doing.
yeah, working on, I mean, we're upwards of summer 2022 of beginning to develop what we want. Just made a really awesome, like we're starting to do more completely custom like jackets and flannels, and working on like totally custom stuff where we're involved from everything from, the beginning vision of it to how we want it to fit and feel in the fabric. And we were just talking the other day about that soft shell jacket that we were making. I don't know. I feel like I'm boring everybody right now. Sorry if you're bored right now, but it's my life. So, anyway, so the soft shell jacket, it's like, there's like literally 24 different like variables that we're deciding on in it. So, yeah, pretty cool. So that's like one of the projects that we're working on for like next fall and then next winter, and trying to just take everything to the next level in terms of things being custom and completely Yee branded rather than putting Yee on other brands, if that makes sense.
Well, whenever a lot of people ask about quantity, and they'll say that we sold out too quickly of a certain item or whatever the case is, a lot of these items, maybe not shirts per se, but a lot of these items, like you just said, summer 2022, like that's 18 months from now. And there's some of these items that have to be ordered like in that distance away, like that time length. And so it's hard to look. We can look at the growth that we've had the last 18 months and predict it for the future, but we've also had insane growth in the last 6 months. So it really can be hard to look at that and see where do we think we're going to be in 18 months. Should we order this amount, or should we order double that amount? And especially with a new product like a soft shell jacket, which I think is going to crush, and especially the design and the material that we're using. But it's hard to tell on a product that we've never released before how that's going to do, and what the consumer market, how they're going to react to that, how Yee Nation is going to react to that, and how that's going to work,
It's going to have a concealed carry pocket on both sides if you're right or left-handed, and a little holster in it on the soft shell jacket. So it should be really cool. We were talking the other day about if that would turn if more people would get it because it has the concealed carry, or if that would turn people off and they would rather more people would get it without the concealed carry. So if you're on YouTube, then shoot us a comment and let us know if you'd prefer the concealed carry or just a regular jacket. I think it's a little bit bigger to make room for the pockets, but I don't think it should be too big a difference if you don't carry a gun with you.
If you don't carry, it's not going to hurt.
I was just thinking about the episode of The Office where it's the very first episode, and Jim is describing what he does at the office, and he's like, I sell paper in various sizes and quantities. And I'm sorry, I'm boring myself just talking about it.
Well, it's boring, but it's our life, and a lot of people do want to know, and a lot of people get excited hearing what's coming up. So, yeah, I guess that's really all that's happening right now. It's funny, after these launches, it's kind of just back to the drawing board and getting ready for the next one, and the next one is coming up very quickly. Sometimes we have 3.5 months or so, and this one it's 2 months. I think this is our quickest turnaround time between the winter launch and the spring launch, between 2 launches. So it was funny, we celebrated for about 5 minutes after the winter launch and then went just right back to working on the spring.
Yeah, spring stuff is all ordered. It's on its way. We just planned the promo video today where we're going to go to a creek and film that, hopefully the second or third weekend of February, and then March 19th will be the spring launch. So it should be awesome.
Is it creek or crick?
It's definitely not crick.
I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of people ask. I grew up saying creek, but a lot of people, I think it's a northern thing, saying crick. It's going to be funny what these comments say, because I think there's going to be some cricks. Are you team creek or crick? Comment below and let us know if you're on YouTube. With that being said, a few of the other things that are happening at Yee that are really exciting is you're going to see Brian Kimball, our video guy, who is also producing. He's kind of a jack of all trades here and is doing a little bit of everything for us. So he's going to chime in from time to time on podcasts here and there. And so he joined our team about 4 or 5 months ago full time. And then I'm super excited about, we hired intern Ben. And some of you all have heard about intern Ben. Intern Ben has a crazy story about how he came to be and how he is now a full-time employee, or about to be a full-time employee of Yee Apparel. But he lives in the Massachusetts area right now, and he is actually moving down to Texas in 2 months, it's just the craziest story. I can't wait for him to be on once he's in office, and he's going to talk about that. But we got him for marketing and content. Our stuff is just, it's becoming a full-time job in itself, and Parker did that for a while, and now I do it, and Parker still helps a little bit, but it's becoming so much of a job that it's hard to keep up with, and he's been great. And if you see content on our socials right now, a lot of it has been him and what he's doing. So we're excited to have both those new folks. We're also looking to hire a graphic designer.
Yep.
We just posted that job posting. So if you know any graphic designers that are just crushing t-shirt designs, anything like that, we'd love to have someone on our team. We're growing very quickly over here. So and then new products, I guess, is the last thing. Can we talk about some of the new products that we're doing? I know we just talked about a lot of stuff that we're doing well into the future, but what about some things that are coming out, give or take, in the next month or so?
We are partnering with Dale Brisby, old son.
Oh, you're gonna drop it?
No, we're not dropping it now.
No, I didn't know you were gonna tell people. Is this the official announcement?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, we're partnering with Dale Brisby.
Yeah, we're doing a Yee Old Son tee with Dale Brisby, Rodeo Time, and that's going to launch whenever we get caught up on winter orders a little bit more. We also have a lot of Country Boy Love candles and Valentine's Day cards that I ordered in hopes of selling them for Valentine's Day, but Hayden and we're going to keep an eye on where we're at in orders, because we don't want to sell something and then have them not get there before Valentine's Day. So if we're still backed up on orders, we'll see where we're at. But we have all those candles ready to go, so that's going to suck if we don't get caught up and they all go to waste until next year.
The things you don't know about a business behind the scenes. We've got all this inventory and we don't know if we can get it out in time. We're working to, because those are always a hit. That's like, well, how much have we sold them for in the past? It's a candle and a Country Boy Love candle and a Valentine's Day card with Earl Dibbles on it. And how much have they been?
I think they're going to be $24.99.
It's the easiest,
something like that.
Fellas, it's the easiest Valentine's Day gift ever. All you have to do is get that. It's a candle, it's a card, give it to your girl. Make sure she's a country girl. And if she's not a country girl, I don't know why you're with her in the first place.
True.
It's the best gift. Like it's easy. You're done, and so we'll
see how she pronounces creek.
Yeah, if she pronounces it creek, she's right. So yeah, we'll keep y'all in the loop with that, and then the
dog collars. Yeah, camo. We did camo dog collars, and then a very limited run of the camo leashes. Cooper's underneath me, wearing his right now. They turned out awesome, super high quality. We partnered with Pride Bites, who was on Shark Tank.
Yeah, they were on Shark Tank.
Yeah, if anybody watches that show, partnered with them and made some really cool like woodland camo dog collars, and so that's kind of the same boat as the Dale Brisby tee and the what were we just talking about? Oh, the Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Stuff. So hopefully once we get caught up on orders keep an eye out the next week or two for that stuff.
Yeah, it'll probably all be rolling out in the next 3 weeks or so. And then after that, that's kind of what we've got coming up. And then we've got as we said, we've got the spring launch on March 19th. And also don't wait. If we release any of those in the next couple weeks, don't wait until the spring launch. I know a lot of people wait until the spring launch to get them, and a few of those items are going to sell out, if not all, pretty quickly. So we don't know if we'll be doing some of them again. So it's one of those things. You could be sitting here 2 years from now and have a Ol Sun Yee shirt, and it's one of the only ones that's been made. So collector's item.
Yeah, we'll see how they do. May do like some American flag collars and leashes for the summer, and then probably won't bring back the camo unless if they sell well, maybe bring them back in the fall or something.
Yeah, we're excited for that. All right, we're going to take a break real quick.
What's up, guys? Thank you for listening to the Yee podcast. Last week we made a code in the Yee apparel store, Yee podcast at checkout. We only made 5? Or you can only use it 5 times, so there's 5 of them available. We'll do that again this week, Yee podcast, use it, and there will be up to 5 uses. So the first 5 people to use Yee podcast will get 10% off at checkout. Check it out at yee.com.
We're going to do our first ever segment, and I'm not sure how this is going to go. I've been excited about doing this segment for a little while, and we've been trying to figure out some of our answers, and I don't think anyone has really told anyone theirs because they don't want anyone stealing. So this is how this segment's going to work. It's called the Power Rankings, and we're going to probably do this every episode or most of them. It'll be power ranking different things. It can be anything in the world. Some of them will be super country, some of them won't be. I would say that the one today is probably the most country thing that you can do. Am I right?
Yes, it's up there. It's a fun one. It's a good start for sure.
So we're going to do the top beers that you can have. And it's going to go in order. So Brian's going to get it on the action, and we will go Brian, myself, Parker. And this isn't top beers like Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light. Nothing like that. It's situational. We all know that some beers, unfortunately, were created better than others and are just they just taste a little bit better after or before certain things. So we're going to let Brian kick it off. What is your first pick of the best beer that you can have? You've got the first pick, so you can pick anything you want.
Okay. So I'm going to start it out with one of my favorite summertime beers, and it is a Blue Moon.
I just said that it's not a type of beer. That was the one thing that you can't do.
It's a situation of a beer, like a Blue Moon after mowing the lawn could be an answer.
So basically, Brian is not prepared, didn't read the notes that I sent over. So
I don't think I was on that email.
Yeah, I guess you weren't CC'd. So this will be interesting to see what Brian's answers are. He still has the first pick, and he's probably.
Do you want Hayden and I to go while you're thinking?
Yeah. Why don't we start? Okay. Why don't Parker go first?
Okay. I'm gonna start with. In Texas, it's a big deal to float the river. I don't know about the rest of the U.S., but a lot of times you will park somewhere and then take a bus. And the bus in Texas, we go down to New Braunfels area in Texas. Float the Guadalupe River. Anyway, everybody gets on a bus, takes you down the river, drops you off downstream, and then everybody floats for like 4 or 5 hours and just drinks beer and plays music, and it's just a good time. You literally do nothing but float and drink beer.
Well, and that's the thing is, if you've never done it before, you're like, you just sit in a tube, but it's the most relaxing thing you can possibly do, and it's so much fun. In the middle of the summer in Texas, it's 100+ degrees, and there are so many people on the river. And you'll meet people. You'll get separated from your group, which isn't always a bad thing because you meet all these new people and hang out with them. And then, it's like a 4-hour float of just drinking beer. Like, what's better than that?
So worst case scenario when you're on the river is you run out of beer. So one of the best beers is there's different little islands or dry spots on the river, and you can get up on the river, and a lot of times people will just be like hanging out there because there's just thousands of people and you meet a bunch of cool people while you're there. And my number one beer is when a stranger gives you a beer to shotgun with them, and you get a big group shotgun of like 15 people that you don't even know, and they just like are like, here dude, like here's a beer, come shotgun with us. And
they call it Shotgun Island. That's a strong first pick too. Like the stranger beer on the water is like the best. That was actually on my list as well. Okay, I'm gonna go with my first pick is gonna be my favorite personal beer, the shower beer. The shower beer is the best beer. The one thing you have to worry about is getting shower water in your beer, so you have to have a good ledge to put it on in the shower. But typically whenever you have a shower beer, it's like an hour after you got off work, you're doing something that night.
I was thinking that it was going to be, okay, so you're saying before you're going to go out.
Typically, but just in the shower at all. What were you thinking?
I was thinking right before you go out, you're getting dressed and you're like getting hyped up to go out to the bar with your buddies. But I could also see winding down after a long day.
No, that's what I meant.
Doing nothing but going back down to sleep.
It doesn't matter. Typically it is before you're going out and doing something, but it doesn't matter. The shower beer is my favorite beer. It's the best beer. It tastes better in there, especially when the water is hot in your shower, but the beer is cold. You can't.
And you got your playlist going.
The playlist
your
is going.
Your hand-picked songs.
Yeah.
I do enjoy a good shower beer.
It's the best. It's why it was my first pick. All right, Brian.
Okay, so
chance number 2.
I clearly did not know what we were doing here. So I'm going to have to choose a game day tailgate beer. About to go to a big football game.
Can't beat it.
Find a tailgate, group of friends, and someone hands you a cold beer.
Yeah, cool, crisp, sunny day in the fall.
Any time of day. 11 a.m. game, night game.
Yeah, a tailgate beer is hard to beat.
Yeah,
it's a good one. I also had I'm not going to use it and because it's too close to that one, but the beer at the tailgate that you drink as you go into the game. So say kickoff is at 7 p.m. and it's at like 6:45 and you're trying to rush in to get in by kickoff, and you know that beer that you drink on the way there, and then you always you don't know like how long it's going to be until you get into the stadium, and then you end up at security with half a beer, so you just down it right in front of the security guard and then throw it in the trash can and walk right into the stadium.
Yeah,
it's the
same
best.
Category as the Uber is outside beer.
Yeah.
Similar beers.
The Uber is outside beer. Dang, that's a good one. I didn't have that on my list. All right, back to you for the second round.
My number 2 is the back home from college beer when you're 21. And so, like, there's no stress around the parents. You're back home. You've been studying hard. Finals are over. And you're finally back home. You appreciate all the little things about home that were really annoying before you left and you went to school. And you're like, oh, my room, my kitchen. And then you just get a nice frosty mug. My dad always kept frosty mugs in the fridge. And it's usually not just like the warm natties that you're used to at college. It's like a nice like Shiner in a frosty mug sitting out on the back porch back home from college. That's my number 2.
And you feel cool because like you're drinking a beer with your dad for the first time legally.
Yeah.
I didn't drink before. None of us drank before 21, so not something that we had to worry about. Okay, that's a great one. I'm gonna go with the blind beer. The beer, and it doesn't matter the time of the day, but whenever you get into the deer blind, the duck blind, whatever, and that first beer that you have, for me it's typically the deer blind because you're covered up a little bit more. Usually whenever you get in the blind, it's before you have to, I mean, I guess you're still being quiet, but you're just getting into the blind, you're getting settled, you're moving around a little bit, and you go ahead and crack it because you don't want to crack it whenever a monster buck walks out. And so you crack that beer, and sometimes you crack two because you don't know if a deer's going to come out in the next 10 minutes
just
or
go
whatever.
ahead and crack them.
So sometimes I get two. I've never done the three. I've never done the trifecta, but I have gotten two beers out before. And the great thing about that is that times really don't matter. Like I've always heard that you're not supposed to open a beer before noon. Don't listen to that. You don't need that negativity in your life. But whenever you're in a blind, it doesn't really matter. You can drink it. You can drink it in the morning at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. You can drink it in the evening for the evening hunt. There's nothing like a beer in the blind. So that's my second pick.
If you're cracking 3 beers by yourself at the same time when you get to the blind, then I don't know. Kudos to you, man.
Well, I won't do more than 3 if I'm hunting. Usually more than 2, but no more than 3.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a good third one here, and that's going to be the Mexico beer. So if you've ever gone to Mexico under the age of 21, they're legal.
Oh, yeah.
Their legal drinking age is 18.
Any country like that.
Yep. And just that sense of adulthood, I guess, at a younger age, being able to do something you can't do in the U.S. And so...
Where did you go in Mexico?
Cozumel.
Cozumel.
Yep.
Was it like a resort?
It was a cruise.
Oh, a cruise.
And so we stopped in Cozumel.
Nice.
And being under 21 but over 18, it's a good feeling.
Isn't it crazy that you just like pull into a port and dock and it's like, all right, it's legal to drink beer now?
Yeah, that is strange. I remember being on meeting some guys who were from Europe, and I think Europe it's also 18. Maybe it's I know England it's like 18. That's
may
just
even
so
be-
strange.
Well,
they're
and I
talking to
think
me
it's
like I was an
laxed.
idiot because I hadn't drank before. They're like, "Oh, Mike, we've been drinking for 3.5 years."
Well, and you can get into, especially if you're a girl, I know that you can get into a lot of places at like 15 or 16 and drink. That's just the culture there. I remember talking to people that said that happens. All right, third round, last round, make it count. What you got?
I'm gonna go with a one that many people may not be familiar with, which is actually 4 beers at once at Texas A&M University. When you get your Aggie ring, you have to do a ring dunk, and this is definitely the most pressure that you'll ever have when drinking a beer. Your entire masculinity and your reputation are on the line for this. So basically, when you get your ring at A&M, you get with like basically all of your closest friends that got their ring at the same time. You invite all of your friends and family, so there's a big crowd there. You're all up on a stage. You get 4 beers, pour them in a pitcher, and there's like an official timer, and you see how fast you can finish your beer, and then you finish it with your ring in your teeth. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it. We poured our beers the night before, went with Michelob, and you stir it a lot to get all the carbonation out, so it's completely flat. So basically, just tastes like water.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. So that's my number 3. That was the most pressure I'd ever had. We
And
played Hell's Bells by AC/DC while we were chugging it.
I was there, and Parker was like, I think you were second out of like 6 or 7 people,
Yeah.
which is really impressive because it was a group of grown adult men. So
yeah, and then me.
Yeah, and then Park. If you've never seen it, go search after this on YouTube. Aggie ring dunk. It's insane. There's some Aggie offensive line. There was an Aggie offensive lineman a couple years ago that broke some record. I mean, it was like 7 seconds or something.
It's usually like it's like nice. You got like 12 seconds. But if you're in the single digits, then it's also like nice. Also, maybe you should get some help or maybe get that checked out because that's not natural.
Yeah, here's an AA card. I'll sponsor you.
Yeah.
You should go. All right, that was a good third pick. Man, I've got a few good ones here, but I think what I'm going to end with for myself is the grilling beer. So whenever it's a hot summer day and you go out and you're grilling and that grill's, it's 350 degrees and it's just going and beads of sweat are coming down and you go in and you crack a cold one. There's nothing that, and this is, I know it's not just a Southern thing, it's everywhere. There's something about drinking a beer while you grill that's just, it's one of my favorite types of beers. And it's also one of those that is kind of dangerous because one can turn into 3 or 4 because technically you're just trying to stay hydrated because it's usually hot. You're sweating from the grill. So the grilling beer is definitely on my list. I'm also kind of pandering to the dads out there, like all the yee dads. Oh, I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I'm kind of pandering a little bit, but I feel like that's a solid 3rd pick.
No, that's a good one.
That is good.
Okay, what you got, Kimball?
And I might have used my best one for number 2, but I'm going to shoot here. And I'm going to say the late to the party beer. And so if it's more so a college thing, but if you're late to the party and you have to play catch up and
okay.
your buddy throws you a beer and
That's also the least powerful beer in terms of like giving you a buzz because you're late to the party. So you're intentionally like, all right, I got to catch up with my buddies. And that beer always just feels like it was nothing, basically. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and it is always accompanied. You can't, like, your buddy just doesn't give you the beer. He always says, got to catch up. Like, you got to throw that in there. You can't just give someone the beer. You also have to say, you got to catch up.
Yeah, like this wasn't meant to enjoy. Like
Yeah.
it's like it's not like, you know, enjoy this beer, you know, you deserved it. It's like, hey, like hurry up, you have a job to do.
Yeah.
And so that job is like an obligation, or that beer is an obligation.
And the friend always has to tell you what he's on or what she's on. They can't just say, like, catch up. It's like, catch up, I'm on number 4.
Yeah.
It's like, no one, your buddy.
Yeah.
it's kind of fun being on both sides of that too.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, I think that at the end of the day, like, you're probably on 50-50. Like, I've been on 50-50 of those. I've been on both sides. So
Yeah. We need new friends.
honorable. I don't know if y'all got any honorable mentions. I'll say my honorable mentions. Beer after a long day of work. The post-workout beer, whenever you just worked out and burned off 600 calories, and then you drink 2 beers and it all goes to waste. The beer, okay, I said that one. The airport beer. The airport beer is underrated. You're gonna pay $14 for it. It's a huge ripoff, but man, there's nothing like drinking a beer in the airport. I can't relate to this one, but I know a lot of parents can. The beer after you put your kids down to bed for the night. Hopefully one day I can feel that, but that's got to be one of the best beers that you can have. And then finally, the beer with an old friend that you haven't seen in a couple years. That's a perfect beer.
Yeah. Honorable mention for me is the ball game beer, either baseball or football. Solid. Finally get back to your seat, paid probably, another $14 for it. Get to your seat, enjoy the cold beer, watch the game.
Yeah.
Mine might be the weekday lunch beer.
Ooh.
Oh, sneaky. Nice.
And you're trying to hide it from your boss, but it's weird because your boss is like sitting right there, and you don't want him to smell the alcohol in your breath.
Alcohol is encouraged at the EV farm.
All right, well, we are going to tweet and post a graphic of this, and I want y'all to let us know who you think won and who had the best answers for this. Comment below and let us know if you're on our socials, and if you're on YouTube, comment below as well. All right, we're gonna answer some questions. We've received a few different questions about the podcast, and yeah, these are super fun for us, and just to see what you guys are asking, and we want to answer a couple of these. So, first one was really cool, and I think about this a lot. We think about this a lot. Is if you could collaborate with any dream company, who would it be? I'll kick it to you first.
Crocs.
Are you serious?
Is that yours?
It was one of mine, but Crocs is by far the company that I think all of us in this building think about collaborating with and that we want to. If you follow us on social media, you've seen it before. We post a lot about them, and I think that there's no other brand that really crosses with our fan base. I feel like every country boy has Crocs and country girl. Yeah, Crocs, and then I love Pit Vipers. I don't have any myself. And another brand that you look at our fans and Pit Vipers fans, and they intersect so much. It would be so sick to have a pair of camo or American flag, red, white, and blue Pit Vipers eventually one day.
Yeah.
So if you guys can help with that, make sure you go to their pages and comment and tag us and say collab, this and that. We did that here recently on a live stream we did. We told y'all to go comment on Crocs, and we went to the post and it was insane. There were probably like 300 or 400 comments that said collaborate with Yee Apparel. So hopefully that's something that we're gonna do one day. The bigger we get and the more that you guys let them know, we're on those big companies' radars. So hopefully that's in the future. This next one is craziest hunting story you ever had. And that's an interesting one because we both had a lot of them. There was one that came to mind for me, though, that I thought of. I was in Gatesville, Texas area, and I was calling. This is probably 5 or 6 years ago. I was calling with some buddies, and we were setting up in a deer stand. And where we were at, it looked down. It was really similar to your land in Clifton. It looked down on this plain, and then it was really flat. And it was a full moon that night, so you could see really well. And we had one of those electronic calling devices, and I don't even know. We were just messing around. We were hanging out more than anything, a couple buddies and me, and we had it on the dying rabbit, and that thing was just going full volume, going loud. And I'll never forget. You could see like I said, it was a full moon, and you could see something coming through the clearing, running full speed.
It's such an adrenaline pumping moment whenever you just like blaring. If y'all have never heard of the dying cottontail or the cottontail in distress, whenever you're predator hunting or spotlighting, man, that's in the middle of the night, and you're just in the woods with your buddies and a gun, and you just hear this screaming cottontail in distress. That's that'll get your blood pumping.
Yeah, it will. And you're in the middle of nowhere too, like no cell phone service or anything like that. And I'll never forget, I see something just screaming through the field, and we all were like, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" And I mean, it was still a few hundred yards away from us, probably 150 yards away from us. And of course, it was going so fast, we couldn't shoot or anything like that. And it kind of took us by surprise more than anything. And I'll never forget, it got about 10 feet away. 5 to 10 feet away from where the calling device was, and just full on launches and jumps. And about that time, we could hear it. We realized that it was a bobcat. This bobcat just came in from the clearing, running full speed, tackles what it thinks is a rabbit in distress, a dying rabbit, thinks it has supper, and immediately realizes and just takes off the other way. And it's one of the craziest things. I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that have crazier stories than that, but it's one of the craziest things to ever witness because I had a perfect view of it. It was sitting down, I was looking down, and it was a full moon, so we got lucky, and it was just crazy to watch it just come screaming through.
And no one even took a shot at it?
We didn't have time, and I don't think we had ARs or anything. I think we just had a couple regular rifles. So it was crazy. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen, and it was just wild how it just popped up immediately and took off. It knew that it wasn't. It knew that something wasn't right there. So I think that's my craziest story.
Yeah, those things are smart. If you see them, you're not going to see them for long.
Yeah. I've always heard about cats with mountain lions and bobcats. If you see them, they wanted you to see them.
For those listening, do you have bobcats around you? Are they nationwide? Or is that more of like a southern thing? Or
I think bobcats are in a lot of places. Or at least some type of bobcat.
In Texas, the biggest threat to your fawns and your small game is definitely bobcats.
Besides coyotes.
Yeah, the bobcats are usually just smarter, but yeah, those coyotes.
And then mountain lions are here too, but you're not going to see them. You're not going to see them hardly other. They're so stealth.
Very rare.
I know people that have lived in Texas for 60 years and have hunted, and they've never seen one, which is crazy. If you're not hunting them, some people hunt them.
My story is I was in high school at the time, and we were going duck hunting really early one morning, and we were on the other side of a lake where the lake was dammed up, and then we were on the river side of it. And, we were all set up. We had the decoys out and everything, and we were waiting, and it was still pitch black outside, really, really early morning. It was real quiet, and we were all like tucked into our spots and like these tall reeds. And then we hear this alarm go off around the dam, and it sounded like one of those really eerie, like,
and it echoes too.
Yeah, and it was just echoing in this valley that we were in, and we didn't know what the heck. We were like, is there a tornado? And it was just like one of those really eerie, like, end of the world sirens just in the middle of the night. Because when you're hunting and you're with your boys and y'all are all tough, you're like, we're good, bro, like, we got guns, we're real tough. and then like just like someone will hear like a little twig snap behind them or something. I think
And
there's
that
some
head
I think there's some
snaps.
TikToks about that. But anyway, so you can just imagine us all go from super tough to just like cowering and like, what is that? Anyway, we hear this like electronic noise of just like machinery, just like, and then we hear this rush of water coming from the dam.
Oh
And we're
my
like,
god.
oh my God, the dam just opened up its gates because, you know, it can adjust the water flow. And we just hear this flood coming toward us. We're like, grab your stuff, it's coming. And so our buddy just bought these decoys and he was like running out and we were like, leave them, Cody. And so he was out in the water and like it's immediately started to rise. And I think I lost a gun case, and then Cody was like out in the water trying to get the decoys, and then he started to like, it started to push him away, but he had like
Oh
his
my
waders and he ended up
gosh.
being all right. But yeah, that was,
I know decoys are expensive, but I don't think they're that worth
Yeah.
it.
yeah. So that was one of the more interesting stories I had.
Interesting. We had, I was thinking of one as you were saying that. We had recently, first day of, at the Yee farm, like everyone around us dove hunts, but we've got so much land and it's pretty open that I can see it. And it's not like I hear horror stories of public hunting. It's nothing like that. You feel like you're pretty safe and comfortable, like nothing's anywhere near. And the first day of dove hunting season this year, I was sitting out that morning and I started getting peppered like crazy. And I know which way it was coming from, but I still never even spotted the folks. And that I've never gotten peppered in my life
Yeah.
by someone I didn't
That's weird.
know was there. You know, whenever you're buddy and you're across the field, that's a little bit different and you can judge the distance and everything. But this was a little scary, especially on my first day. And then I don't think they ever hunted again.
You
So-
could hear his shot, obviously, and
Yeah,
then you
I
felt
mean,
being
but
peppered.
there were so. I mean,
So for those that don't know, he's being peppered is when someone shoots a shotgun like fairly close, like up into the air, and then the rounds
Yeah.
or the whatever you call it, the pellets or
Yeah.
whatever, the BBs just like float down on you, and it's just kind of like
yeah,
just
it's. I mean,
get hit with it.
it's not up close, so it's not going to do anything typically. I mean, you definitely don't want to be looking up in the air whenever it comes down, but that was a little bit eerie because out here there's just everyone around us hunts, like everyone, especially that morning, because I could hear shots everywhere, but I mean they were just coming from every which direction, so I didn't know exactly which group it was and I couldn't see them. So
Yeah, dove hunting's pretty popular around here.
it's probably my favorite hunting, and along with fishing. Great question here. Besides Granger, who many of you know co-founded our brand, Granger Smith. Besides Granger, what artist are you listening to right now? I'll kick that to you first.
I'm listening to Morgan Wallen like everybody else in the world. I think he's awesome. But a close second is Hardy. And then someone who's underrated that I've been listening to is Kip Moore, who had his album Wild World that came out like 6 months ago, I think. And he's just got a really cool, different sound. I mentioned that to Granger, and he was like, Kip Moore is the coolest guy that I've ever met. Every time I talk to him, I'm just like, what's up, man? What you been up to? And he's like, Kip's always just like, man, about to go to this island off the coast. Probably lay low there for 8 months or so. May go back to the mountains. He said he's just the most mysterious guy, just like,
It's like
off.
the definition of cool.
Yeah, off just surfing by himself for months at a time. But anyway, that's one.
Some life. Hardy was on my list too. I mean, I guess Hardy and Morgan Wallen, but welcome to the club. Everyone's been listening, so Morgan Wallen. But Hardy is too. Hardy's crushing it right now, and I still jam that Hicks tape. It had like Tracy Lawrence, and he's had music since then, but that Hicks tape was awesome. He just had like all these different artists on it. Tracy Lawrence and Joe Diffie were on there, rest in peace. And I've still been jamming that like a year and a half later. Another artist that I've been jamming a lot, and everyone kind of everyone's just like, it's different than what I usually listen to, is David Morris, that hip hop rapper.
Yeah, you're on your own on that one.
Oh, come on. I love this guy. So y'all got to look up this guy, David Morris. He's got a freestyle called F350 Freestyle that I cannot get enough of. I've been jamming it like all the time. This dude is like country. He sings about country stuff because he grew up in West Virginia, but he's hip hop. I mean, he is truly hip hop, and he's crushing right now. I think he's going to be a name that here soon people are talking about. And then Ernest is also on that train with Hardy. If y'all haven't listened to Ernest's music yet. He's been a songwriter in Nashville for a while now. He's written a lot of songs that are number ones, that top 5 songs that y'all have all heard. But he's been doing some of his own stuff, and it's kind of like beachy island vibe. It's awesome. It's some of my favorite country music right now, and his songwriting's just incredible. And he has a funny podcast. He had Mason Ramsey on this past week, and it was one of the funniest episodes I've listened to. He's hilarious. So he wears a lot of Yee stuff. So go and support him, follow him, listen to some of his music. Last question. This is a good one, and this is about Yee apparel, and this is one that we get quite often. Why is Yee apparel only online? Will there ever be a storefront? I'll kick that one to you.
Because there's a lot of upfront money that you need for a storefront. And I would like for Yee apparel to be in stores that are already established. And before we ever open up our own, I don't really see how cost effective that would be.
Yeah, it's also it just depends on where you're at, but it's kind of an old way of thinking. You're starting to see a lot of people, retailers included. I mean, big box retailers, JCPenney's, Macy's, Bass Pro Shop. A lot of these huge conglomerates are switching to e-commerce, and COVID obviously. Well, I don't know if I can say that. You're probably not going to hear this podcast anywhere now since I said the bad word. But I think that the pandemic really changed that. But I think that we were already going that direction anyways. And I think that that's kind of been the switch. So a lot of people want the storefront. And trust me, it would be sick to have a Yee apparel storefront. Like, it'd be awesome.
We'll do it one day, I think. I think it's more of just a novelty thing once your brand is established. And I do think that there's benefits to do it. And I think it'd be really cool for customers to be able to come to the Yee storefront, since, obviously the Yee farm isn't open to the public, but it'd be cool to have. I don't know. Do you think we do it in Georgetown if we did it? Or do you think we do it in Dallas-Fort Worth area?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a couple brands that have done this really well, like Tecovas Boots, if any of y'all know them. They've just been killing it in the e-commerce game the last few years. And they've got like 4 locations now, I think DFW, Houston, San Antonio, Austin. I may be wrong, but they've got like 4 or 5 in those areas. And I went to their Fort Worth one, and it was just done so well. But that's the definition of a company that waited until they were able to do it, rather than putting the cart before the horse and just throwing up a retail store just to do it. Someone else that I really love what they've done, and they did it where their warehouse is, which is something that we could do, at least in the Georgetown area, is Demolition Matt Carricker and Bunker Branding. A lot of you guys are familiar with them. And they just recently, in the last year, I think it was the last year, they have a retail store now. And
Black Rifle Coffee.
Oh, Black Rifle does?
Yeah, I saw the line just around the block every morning, basically.
Oh,
They just opened it up in San Antonio.
I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yes and no. Like, we want to eventually one day. I don't think it's top of mind for us right now. A little bit more of a focus is getting into those retailers, and that's something that you're probably going to see in the next year or two, hopefully, is right now that, many of you know, the only place that you can buy Yee apparel, rather than maybe at a Granger show, which good luck getting out to a show right now, is the only place is online at yee.com, yeeapparel.com. And so hopefully in the next year or two, we're cutting some deals and getting into some different retailers, and hopefully in a town near you where it's a little bit easier for you to get your Yee apparel.
And you know what else will be in stores?
Ooh, are you going to tell them?
Project X. Yee Project X.
So we've got something, we're not going to talk too much about it because it's still in the early phases, but it could be done by, when could it roll out? Fall. We've got something that we're working on, and y'all just have to bear with us, and I hate to tease you guys too much, but we really think it's going to be the next big thing, and it's not apparel. It's not like a jacket. It's not anything like that. It's something completely different, but it will be Yee blank. We're calling it Project X right now. It's going to be the new big thing, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. It's been like half of mine and Parker's focus for the last 2 or 3 months, so it's going to be huge, and so y'all just stay tuned on that.
Good news?
Good news?
Do we want to switch to our good news?
Yeah. So we're going to start doing this. We'll finish out the podcast, and I think we're going to continue to do this every single time there's a lot of negativity going around. I don't know what's in the water recently. So we're going to finish every podcast with the good thing of the week. It's going to be good news of the week, whatever you want to call it. We'll call it good news of the week. Good news of the week. That's going to be our segment to finish off every show. And yeah, so I'll let you go first. What is your good news of the week?
It's going to be, because I know what yours is, so it's going to be funny to transition from mine to yours and close it out.
Well, do you want me to go first then?
Sure.
Okay. I have to get one of these ASAP. Nerf guns just announced, and I don't know if it's released yet or not. I don't think it's released. They just announced that they're doing a Nerf gun that curves around corners. Like literally, the bullets will curve around a corner. So have you ever seen Wanted, the movie?
I know the scene you're talking about.
With Angelina Jolie, like the guy learns, I don't remember his name, but he learns how to curve the bullet. And I've been obsessed with that movie for since it came out, probably 10 plus years ago. So I have to get one of those like now. And I'm going to shoot Nerf bullets at everyone in the warehouse. And I will keep you guys updated on how that goes.
We need to get Caleb to like mod it for you with like a drill battery or something.
It's like I just get the lower receiver for him, and he ends up just outfitting it. Before you know it, it's like $1,000 Nerf gun. So I'm gonna be getting that in the next week. So good news can be anything. My good news this week is not that serious, but that's pretty fun news in my opinion.
That's very serious news. That's the news that we all needed to hear over the last few weeks. Honestly, that should be top headlines.
What you got?
My good news of the week is out of 100 million sperm, you are the lucky sperm that made it. I heard that today. Isn't that interesting?
How many?
100 million.
Wow.
100 million sperm that were searching for the egg in your mama, and you are the lone survivor that made it. That's pretty cool.
1 in 100 million chance that you are here right now.
Yeah, in the way that you are, that makes you you. You're the one that made it.
I don't think there's a better way to finish a podcast.
Nope.
That's the best thing you're going to hear this week.
Maybe ever.
Maybe ever. All right, guys. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you later, lucky sperm.
Eat your veggies.